Welcome back to Legion Builds, where I show you how to bring your favorite characters into Dungeons & Dragons. We're continuing our spooky season with another dive into Resident Evil 8, and we're actually doing 3 characters this time. We're doing the daughters of Lady Dimitrescu herself, Daniela, Bela, and Cassandra. If you hate bugs, then you're really gonna hate these 3. The daughters have the ability to transform into a swarm of bugs that can get anywhere they wish and attack out of nowhere. Actually, that's a lie, but we'll get to that in a second. For today's build, we'll be using the player's handbook, Xanathar's guide to everything, and Tasha's cauldron of everything. We're using standard point array to make this easier for everyone, and we're multi-classing. This build has 3 stat minimums, so you need to keep an eye on those. If you're wondering what the minimums are and you're watching this on YouTube, those stats are the red while the others are white. If you're listening to this on Spotify, sorry. Going to start things off with Dex at 15. Unlike your mother, you're actually a decent size and can move incredibly easily and quickly. Wisdom will follow at 14. Because of your unique condition, you cannot step outside during the winter, but you need to be able to hunt for food still. So you need to be good at tracking and sighting prey in tight corridors. You're already better at that than your own mother. Charisma will be 13. This is a stat minimum, and your personality is what's holding you together. Con will be a 12. What you are requires focus and quick healing. Strength will be a 10, and we're dumping intelligence. You tend to make bad choices when playing with your food. Seriously, just body them and move on. Playing gets a weapon pointed at you. The daughters are... well, okay, this is going to need some explaining. You're actually a super organism. Each daughter is actually a swarm of fly-like creatures that share a single twisted consciousness. Yeah, that was the lie earlier. You're not a creature that turns into a swarm of bugs. You are a swarm of bugs that turns into a creature. A creature that requires massive amount of meat to sustain the swarm. So we're going with Dhampir. Place +2 into Con and +1 into Dex. Ancestral Legacy grants you 2 free skills of your choice, Grab Perception and Acrobatics. Darkvision lets you see out to 60 feet in darkness. Deathless Nature makes it so you no longer breathe. Spider Climb gives you a climbing speed equal to your walking speed. Vampiric Bite gives you a bite attack. When you make a bite attack, it counts as a simple melee weapon, and you use your Con modifier for attack and damage, dealing 1d4 piercing damage on a hit. If you are missing half your HP, you have advantage on the attack rolls. When you bite a creature that is not a construct or undead, you can feed on them and activate one of 2 effects. You can regain HP equal to the bite damage, or you gain a bonus to your next skill check or attack roll equal to the damage. You can only feed a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. For background, grab the skills Persuasion and Stealth. Since your whole existence is because a big scary lady was curious about what would happen and was very lonely, we're starting off as a warlock. For skills, grab Deception and Intimidation. Level 1 Warlocks start things off with an otherworldly patron. Since you're all about death and violence, we're going to take Hexblade. Hexblade's curse allows you to mark a target with a curse with a bonus action. For 1 minute, that target receives bonus damage from you equal to your proficiency bonus. You crit on 19s, and should they die, you feed on them, regain hit points equal to your charisma modifier plus warlock level. Hex Warrior gives you proficiency in all melee weapons, shields, and medium armor. You can also bond with a melee weapon and use your charisma modifier instead of strength or dex for attack and damage. Pact Magic makes you a fake spellcaster with limited spell slots but more powerful spells. You start off with 2 cantrips and 2 spells. For spells, Infestation releases a swarm of bugs that target a creature within 30 feet, forcing a con save or dealing 1d6 poison damage, and forcing the creature to move 5 feet in a random direction. Shield adds +5 to your AC as a reaction. Cause Fear targets 1 creature within 60 feet and forces a wisdom save. Should they fail, they become frightened of you for 1 minute while you maintain the spell. At the end of each of its turns, it can retake the save and end the spell. Okay, time to jump classes and start working on the Swarm. Heading over to Ranger, you gain a new skill, Grab Survival. Level 1 Rangers start off with Deft Explorer. This will grant several features over time, and it starts with Canny. Choosing one skill you're proficient with, you can now double your proficiency bonus to that skill. Take Perception, since you literally have thousands of eyes. Favored Foe allows you to deal bonus damage to a marked target. Once you hit a creature, you can mark it as your favored foe, dealing an extra d4 of damage while you maintain this for 1 minute. You can mark a favored foe a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Level 2 Rangers now have a fighting style. Since your preferred weapon is a sickle, let's go with Dueling. Now when wielding a single weapon with one hand and holding no other weapon, you gain +2 to damage with that weapon. By the way, don't use a sickle, it's just a d4 slashing damage. A scimitar is a d6 and is finesse, which is better for you since your dex will be great for this build. You're also a spellcaster, a real one too. Normally when you multi-class spellcasters, you have to add them together to figure out slots, but not you. Since Warlocks aren't real spellcasters, those slots are separate from your ranger slots. You can also decide which slots you want to use. You start off with 2 spells. For those spells, Cure Wounds heals 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier, or charisma modifier if you use your Pact magic slots. For your second spell, take what you want. Your character level 3 now, your spider climb is now upgraded. You can now move along vertical surfaces and upside down. Level 3 Rangers receive their subclass, and we can finally start doing what we need to do with SwarmKeeper. Gathering Swarm gives you a swarm of insects that are constantly surrounding you. On each of your turns, you can use the swarm to assist you in a variety of ways that you can choose from, and after you hit a creature with an attack, you can cause an additional 1d6 piercing damage. The swarm can move you 5 feet horizontally in any direction of your choice, or you can force the target to take a strength save or be moved up to 15 feet horizontally in any direction. SwarmKeeper magic grants you additional spells at different levels. For this level, Mage Hand creates a small swarm of insects that can move or manipulate objects out to 30 feet that weigh no more than 10 pounds. Fairy Fire creates a 20-foot cube of glowing insects 60 feet from you. Everyone within the cube must make a dex save, or the insects stick to them, causing them to glow, emitting light in a 10-foot radius. This also affects objects within the cube and invisible creatures. Any attack against the affected creature or object is at advantage. You must maintain the spell for 1 minute. You also gain another normal ranger spell. Take what you want. At this level, you also receive a new feature, picking from Primal Awareness or Primeval Awareness, but neither fit for you, so look them up and take what you want. Level 4 Rangers earn our first ability score improvement. Bump up dex for better attacks, AC, and stealth. Your character level 5 now. Infestation now does 2d6 piercing damage. Level 5 Rangers gain extra attack. You can now attack twice with a single attack action. You also gain second level spell slots. For your new SwarmKeeper spell, Web fills a 20-foot cube up to 60 feet from you with thick webbing that you can maintain for 1 hour. Each creature that starts its turn within the web must make a dex save or be restrained until they break free. To break free from the web, they must use their action to force a strength check to break free. For your normal spell, Pass Without a Trace adds +10 to your stealth for 1 hour while you maintain the spell. Level 2 Warlocks now have Eldritch Invocations. These are special gifts given to you by your patron to give you new spells or new features. For your invocations, Armor of Shadows lets you cast Mage Armor without a spell slot. This gives you an AC of 13 plus your dex for 8 hours. You also receive one more, but next level will just be replacing it with a good one. For your new spell, take what you want. Level 3 Warlocks receive a Pact boon. Pact of the Blade allows you to create a special magical melee weapon out of thin air with an action, or even bond with a magical weapon you find that you can now summon with an action. The weapon can be any weapon regardless of your proficiencies, and you can use your Hex Warrior feature with this. Now for the invocation we really want. Improved Pact Weapon turns your Pact weapon into your spellcasting focus for your Warlock spells, allows you to form ranged weapons as well, and finally adds +1 to the weapon's attack and damage. You also receive second level spells. For your spell, Hold Person targets one humanoid within 60 feet of you and forces a wisdom save. Should they fail, they are now paralyzed by your swarm for 1 minute while you maintain the spell. At the end of each of their turns, they can attempt the save again, ending the spell on a success. Level 6 Rangers have their favored foe upgraded to a d6 of extra damage. Deft Explorer now grants you roving. Your total movement is now 45 feet and you have a swimming speed equal to your walking speed. Level 7 SwarmKeeper Rangers gain Writhing Tide. As a bonus action, your swarm can now grant you a flying speed of 10 feet and can hover for 1 minute. For your new spell, take what you want. Level 8 Rangers earn another ability score improvement. Let's grab a feat. Fey Touch adds +1 to Charisma and gives you 2 spells. You can cast these 2 spells without a spell slot once per long rest or with the correct spell slot. For those spells, Misty Step turns you into the swarm and teleports you with a bonus action up to 30 feet. Charm Person targets one humanoid within 30 feet of you and forces a wisdom save. Should they fail, they are now charmed by you for 1 hour. They remain charmed until you harm them. Lure your victims in and then enjoy the meal. Land Stride lets you pass through non-magical terrain at no extra cost, and you take no damage from non-magical plants. You also have advantage on saving throws against magical plants created or manipulated by spells to slow you down. Whenever I think of this spell, I picture someone moving very carefully, but right now I'm picturing you moving through the plants by becoming the swarm partially. Your character level 11 now. Infestation now does 3d6 piercing damage. Level 9 Rangers now have 3rd level spells. For your SwarmKeeper spell, Gaseous Form transforms you into the swarm for 1 hour while you maintain the spell. While in this form, you only have a flying speed of 10 feet, you can enter an occupied space, you have resistance to non-magical damage, and you have advantage on strength, dex, and con saves. You can also pass through small holes, narrow openings, and cracks. You can maintain this for up to 1 hour and will revert back to the normal if you drop to 0 HP. For your new normal ranger spell, Conjure Animals allows you to summon fey spirits in the form of beasts, or a swarm of beasts. Choosing from the following options, you maintain this spell for 1 hour. You can choose from 1 beast of CR 2 or lower, 2 beasts of CR 1 or lower, 4 beasts of CR half or lower, or 8 beasts of CR quarter or lower. This means you can summon 4 total swarms of bugs to soak up damage. Level 10 Rangers gain their final feature from Deft Explorer. Tireless allows you to give yourself temporary HP equal to 1d8 plus your Wisdom modifier. You can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You can also now reduce exhaustion by 1 with a short rest. Nature's Veil turns you invisible until the start of your next turn with a bonus action. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Level 11 SwarmKeeper Rangers receive Mighty Swarm. This improves your swarm's capabilities. Your swarm's damage is now increased to 1d8. They can now push a target 15 feet and knock them prone, and if your swarm moves you, you now have half cover until the start of your next turn. For your spell, Nondetection hides you from divination magic for 8 hours, such as scrying. Level 12 Rangers earn another ability score improvement. Place this into Wisdom for better perception. Level 13 Rangers now have 4th level spells. For your SwarmKeeper spell, Arcane Eye creates a small swarm of tiny insects that you can use to spy on creatures for up to 1 hour while you maintain the spell. When summoned, the swarm is 30 feet away from you, and with an action you can move it 30 feet in any direction. While active, you can see through the swarm in all directions. For your normal Ranger spell, Freedom of Movement makes it so you're unaffected by difficult terrain, and spells and other magical effects cannot reduce your speed, paralyze you, or restrain you. You can also use 5 feet of movement to escape non-magical shackles. Level 14 Rangers now have their favored foe extra damage upgraded to a D8. Vanish turns Hide into a bonus action for you, and now you can't be tracked by non-magical means unless you choose to. Your character level 17, Infestation, now does 4d6 piercing damage. Level 15 SwarmKeeper Rangers receive their final feature, Swarm Dispersal. Now, as a reaction, when you take damage, you can fade into the swarm, granting you resistance to the damage. When you vanish, you can then teleport up to 30 feet away. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. For your new spell, take what you want. Level 16 Rangers earn our final ability score improvement, Cap Off Dex, for better damage and AC. Our final level is level 17 Rangers, and you gain 5th level spells. For your final SwarmKeeper spell, Insect Plague unleashes a swarm of insects out to 300 feet from you, filling a 20-foot radius sphere. The area within the sphere is lightly obscured and is difficult terrain, and it can move around corners. When the swarm appears, each creature within the sphere must make a con save or take 4d10 piercing damage. Creatures must also make this save when they enter the sphere or end their turn there. The swarm remains while you maintain this spell for 10 minutes. For your final ranger spell, Steel Wind Strike allows you to attack up to 5 creatures within 30 feet of you. Targeting each, you make a melee spell attack dealing 6d10 force damage on a hit, and you then teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 5 feet of one of your targets, hit or miss. This is a spell attack, meaning this will use your wisdom instead of your dex. Now that we've hit level 20, let's recap. Your stats are Strength 10, Dex 20, Charisma 14, Intelligence 8, Wisdom 16, Charisma 14. Your total levels are Warlock 3, Ranger 17. Let's dive in. The best part about this whole build is your swarm. With your swarm, you can gain resistance to damage, cause damage, fly, knock enemies down, spy on enemies, merge into the swarm, teleport through it, mark targets, hold targets, and you can unleash more swarms to attack multiple targets. Your AC is 18, you can have 5+ to it. You have a total 160 HP, and you're dealing magical damage and can add a d8 to the damage. You can also add +10 to your stealth. You can't be tracked non-magically or magically. Downside: you have a lot of concentration spells and also have an bad intelligence save. That's actually it. Thankfully, most of your concentration spells are focused on spying or moving, so you don't have to try and figure out what to do. It's a pretty good build for a character that dies because it can't handle cold air. Seriously, your mother's bulletproof, can punch through walls, and can transform into a dragon. You're a swarm of bugs that eat meat. This is such a weird game. Anyway, thank you for joining me once again. Make sure to like and subscribe to not miss a single new build. Don't forget to check out all my builds, and requests are always open.